And, well, let's see. It looks like we are almost ready to become live. Hello, Mary. Hello, Terry Cover. How are you all doing today? Today we're going to be talking about what I learned at the coffee trade show. Um, uh, am I back? All right. If you guys could just let me know if I'm still on, because it seems to. I see Mary. All right. Apparently, I'm having issues today. It shouldn't surprise me. But anyhow, so we went there to the trade show, and we had to print these tags for the expo. And when we would go to a booth and we'd ask questions, they'd be like, "Can we scan your tag with the QR code?" Which made it very nice, because then they had all the info that I had submitted to where they could email me about the different products. And so that was extremely helpful for me later. I learned a lot. I also found out there's a new alternative milk that I need to look into to see if I feel that it's something that I would like to offer my people who have dairy allergies. So, a lot of it was to improve the trailer. The other part was to look into the coffee roasting business. And so that's what I was up to. And give me a minute here to get my laptop going. Live chat. All right. And so we had a great time. And for the most part, I was the slow one at the show. Cyndi and Jamie were all over the place. And so we'll start with my first story that happened at the Expo. My best friend Jamie is a go-getter. She will move mountains if she has to. And she was all over the Expo. And they were handing out, of course, espresso shots. And, well, needless to say, Jamie was taking full advantage of testing everyone while she was waiting on me to move to the next vendor. And so we decided we needed to take a break, and we went outside where they had tables and chairs and some umbrellas to kind of keep us from out of the sun. And she's like, "I've had too much coffee. My eye won't stop twitching." I'm like, that's what you get for going and trying everything. Because I knew if I drank as much as she did, I'd be in the bathroom more than doing anything else. So unfortunately, she had a little bit of a twitch, but we got that all taken care of. We had a really nice time. And again, learned a bunch of new things about the coffee roasting part. A lot of what some of these machines cost. They're not cheap, like not at all. The one that I looked at, I was talking to the guy, and I had seen this machine running from other places that I've gone to, and I said, "How much is that machine?" And he's like, "Oh, it's great. It's got all the bells and whistles, great protection, made in America." And I'm like, "That sounds great." And then he says, the price tag on that is $66,000. And I'm like, oh, is that it? And he goes, yeah, we're not the cheapest roaster, but we definitely have quality. And so needless to say, I don't disagree with him. However, my pockets are not that deep. And so I had to continue to look, and I've came up with some ideas. It just all depends on how I go about looking at things. But anyhow, I'll also be taking questions from you guys about the trip. I did meet someone, and surprisingly, it was a woman. And so I was with Cyndi. We were doing some antiquing as well. So it wasn't just stuck in just plain old coffee, but we we definitely had a lot of fun. And after the show was over, we went back to where Cyndi lives, and we went shopping in a town called Tyler, Texas, and very nice town. And we stopped at it's called Royal Passage Antiques and Gifts, and it's a very quaint, nice little store. They have a great assortment of antiques and collectibles and fine jewelry. And so Cyndi and I are looking at stuff. And of course, I'm not Jason. I have a hard time seeing stuff. I've gotten better over the years, but I'm not as good. Okay. And I just take it as a grain of salt. I'm like, I'll do the best I can. And if I win some, great. If I lose, or if I don't, no big deal. So anyhow, I go in and I have this shirt on. These are my new BullyRunCoffee shirts. As you can see, the material's a little bit nice because it actually breathes in the heat. And so anyhow, Cyndi's buying the stuff. I didn't really find anything that I was that over the moon for. And Cyndi's buying stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I think I should probably just go ahead and give this lady my tax ID. Okay? And so I'm like, you know what? Can I do that? She's like, oh, absolutely. So I get out my number and I says, here's the name of the company. I go, it's BullyRunCoffee. And before I had said this woman looked at me and she goes, you look familiar. Have I taken care of you before? I go, no, I'm not even from this state. And she goes, you must have a doppelganger here in Texas. And I go, it's possible. Anything's possible. And so needless to say, then I go and ask her about, putting my number on registering it. And I go, here's the company. It's BullyRunCoffee. And the lady does this, oh my God, it's you. I'm looking at Cyndi and I'm like, it's me? I go, oh, this woman watches our sales. She's dying laughing. Cyndi and I are looking at each other, dying laughing. And we are cracking up. And she goes, I love you guys. You are wonderful. Jason does a fantastic job at his presentations on everything. Now, she did tell me, I go, are you registered? She goes, no, I unfortunately don't know how to register because it's the YouTube username that trips me up. And so I had talked to Jason about it, and I said, we need to do a tutorial for people so they kind of know. So when you're in the chat, sometimes you'll come up with your name, and then you have your username. You'll want to kind of look in that little circle and tap on it, and it will give you what your user ID is, and that helps. And so I told her, I says, you know what? I'm going to do you a favor. I says, I will register you right now here in the store. And I did so. And the woman was delighted. And she works at this Royal Passage in Antiques and Gifts in Tyler, Texas. She was absolutely fantastic. And she really helped out my friend Cyndi, who bought some really nice pieces. And so it's always nice to know when you have people you run into that you don't expect. And it was a very, very nice surprise, because normally Jason is who gets that. I'll be shopping with him. We'll be 3 hours away from here, and I'll be like, is that Jason Adams? And I'm like, oh God, not again. And there he goes. And so this time it was me, and I said to Cyndi, I am totally floored about that. So I want to give kudos to Michelle. You were an absolute doll. I enjoyed getting to meet you there last week. And so moving on, I also did a few other things. We kind of stopped at this shop in Houston. My best friend Cyndi and Jamie, they love gemstones. They also like sound therapy. They're very into the into like a sound healing and stuff like that. And so I was like, hey, I'll go in there and give it a try. So we went in, and there was all of these gemstones, and I was like, oh wow, Jason would have a ball in here. And so we're walking around, and I see Cyndi, and she's over at this bowl, and she's taking the thing and she's making the sound with it, which is very nice. And so I grab it, and I'm starting to do it myself, and I'm like, am I making any noise? Because I can't tell. And she goes, here, I'll stop. So she stops her bowl, and I'm over there. I'm like, sounds kind of like an alarm going off. So it was nice. We had a lot of fun, but we got a lot of nice stones. Cyndi and Jamie also bought some other things that I am not 100% sure what you got, Cyndi. But anyhow, I wanted to also show you from this store called Body, Mind, and Sound in Houston, Texas. Let's see here. Let's kind of washes the card out. There we go. So that is the store. It was a fantastic store, and so I'm going to show you. This was one of my favorites. This is a apatite gemstone, and I know that ring light's going to kind of like put a little halo on there, but it has some really wonderful character to it, and the price was extremely affordable, and I just thought to myself, I just thought it was fantastic. I thought, why not? It was very, like I said, very affordable. And you guys, I know I'd seen some in the shorts that I did. Well, we went back, and I accidentally bought more. And so I couldn't help myself. I had to go and get myself the Bumblebee Jasper. And let's see here. There we go. And obviously, you all know that I'm colorblind, so I have a very hard time with seeing color. And Bumblebee Jasper is one of my favorites because I can see it real well. And it definitely makes a huge difference. And so when I seen it, the whole color, the color of it just really was, I thought was magnificent with all that pattern. And so that was one. This one is Danderite Agate. To me, it kind of looks like cookie and cream, kind of like a nice ice cream or something. Very affordable. This place was super nice, and the people were very, very nice to work with. And yes, Tamara, they would make very nice paperweights. And like I said, not expensive. Some of the stuff was a little bit more affordable. Now, they had other stones that were more expensive, a little bit harder to get, but you grab what you're interested in. And this one was called Orca Agate, and that's what it looks like. And again, very affordable, very nice. And again, I kind of went with this kind of a style because, yes, it would make a very good paperweight or to put into a little shelf. And so I was definitely thrilled. And then the last one that I have, this is another Dendrite Agate. This one was fantastic. I liked how it was where you could kind of like get a little bit more see-through in it with the light. Very interesting stones. And again, very nice store. I will be trying to do business with these people. And if you guys like that kind of stuff and you're interested in having something like that, I would definitely like to know in the comments if you are interested in pieces like these. So Jason and I know that, hey, this also may be something that you guys might have some interest in on our sales. And speaking of that, I was getting a lot of emails. When are you coming back? Are you back yet? And so it was nice to be thought of, and we'll be back tomorrow in full force. I got to go get Mom, and Mom, Jason, and I will get things geared up for tomorrow. And I hope you all have been able to watch the previews of our sales for this Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. I don't know officially yet if that's what he's going to do. So yes, so that's kind of what I did. So I'm going to ask for you guys if you have any questions. I'm going to go ahead and start taking some questions on what you what you may be interested in on the coffee aspects, the stones, and just what I thought about Texas. So go ahead and give me some of your questions, and I will go ahead and answer those for you. Yes, I missed all of you guys as well. It was definitely a nice time. We had a very nice flight. Jamie and I flew down together, and I had to have Jason take us at like 2:00 in the morning. I didn't look great, but I for sure, we got there. The plane wasn't full, so Jamie and I had plenty of space. I am definitely, long flights are hard on me. So I was able to get down to, we landed at Dallas Fort Worth, and Cyndi and her husband Craig was able to pick us up, and so the flight down was nice. The flight back, Jamie had left a couple days before I did because I was spending more time with Cyndi, and so when I left, they let us know that there was a serviceman who had passed and that the airliner was escorting him back to Cleveland to his family. And so I thought that was very kind, because I honestly did not know that that was even a thing. I had not a clue. And that when we arrived in Cleveland, before Jason picked me up, they had all the people waiting on the tarmac for the plane's arrival. So it was kind of just a wonderful all over trip. Nothing went wrong. And I don't know how you all feel about things, but when you go on vacation, you have this anticipation of everything's got to go, just to the T. And you kind of expect something to go awry. And I was totally floored about how smooth it went. No issues whatsoever. So I was very helpful. All right, Annalisa Beck, strong tasting espresso, dark, medium, flavored Cuban and Italian. I totally agree. What I've learned, Annalisa, is that there are different. So an espresso is not an actual bean. It's definitely across the board. Different beans can be used as espresso, and what I'm learning is it depends on how it's roasted. And so once I kind of feel that out, I got to do a little playing around with some beans to kind of understand how you get it as espresso. And some of those beans can be, if I remember correctly, Colombian was one. I believe Papua New Guinea was another one. Usually these are beans that normally go into a more darker roast. They're just better as a darker roasted coffee than some of that. So, Jason finally arrived. I was trying to get him to go have a burrito with me earlier, and he wouldn't answer, so I figured he already was napping. So I decided to come on and enjoy you all. And so Jason will have to show you some of his things that he got from my my adventures, because I also got him a few things, and I said, I don't care, you pick out what you want, and he did. And so he was totally floored at what I brought him. And so tomorrow I'm sure he'll have where he'll talk more about that. Yeah, Jason, I was thinking of a burrito and I didn't hear from you, and so I thought, yeah, I'll come and say hello to all of these people who have, I'm sure you've all been kind of waiting for me to do a little bit more talks. I just haven't had the time, and it's been kind of a little bit depressing because it's like the days come and go and you're just like, I'd like to get this accomplished, but I have all of this stuff to do. And sometimes it can get a little bit frustrating because I'm doing the sales, getting things all taken care of, and making sure everybody's getting what they have purchased. and getting it out in the mail ASAP. And then on the other end, the trailer's up and running. And so it's kind of like a juggling act for me. And so if I'm not on, it's a lot of, trying to keep everything running smoothly. And so I'm going to try to do my very best to pop on, to talk to you guys, to talk about some of the things that I'm wanting to try to do, run ideas past you guys, and getting a little feedback on what makes sense to you guys as customers. And with that, I'm going to talk about the tea. So about a month and a half ago, I had signed up. Oh, Ashley has a question. All right, hold on. Let's see here, Ashley. What would you suggest for a caramel lover? Okay, so I'm not one of these people that likes flavored coffee. To me, there's too many chemicals and processes. I'm very snob when it comes to coffee. I would much rather have my single origin or a blend that comes from different countries. And so what I would suggest is, let me grab one of these. This isn't exactly caramel, but I will use this brand, is the Torini's flavors. Get yourself a little shot jigger and just put a little bit in there, dump it in your coffee, stir it up. It'll give you that caramel flavor without having to have all of that chemical stuff. A lot of the nice things about these kind of flavors is that they use pure cane sugar and not the high fructose corn syrup. I'm a big believer, and if you're going to have sugar, you need to have the pure cane sugar, not the fructose corn syrup. And so a lot of these Torini's or Monin have these in caramel, all kinds of flavors, more than I could even imagine. These guys were at the trade show as well. I was trying to ask them, hey, how can I get these bottles for the trailer without paying an arm and a leg? Because stuff's gotten expensive. And I'm trying desperately not to make my customers have to pay an exorbitant amount for coffee. And so I was asking. I asked Monin as well, because they were there too. And I said, I just want to know what would be the best way of getting a better price for my customers so I don't have to raise prices, because in my opinion, that is, you want to keep your costs down. If you keep your costs down, you're going to be able to keep your price on your coffees down as well. And so I do like using this brand very much so. And a little bit goes a long way. So that would be my recommendation on adding a flavor. I know a lot of you probably are aware I am not a decaf person. I have had talks with people who have said, well, you don't have decaf. What do you recommend? And I'm like, well, I gotta tell you, I believe that if you're drinking good coffee and you don't need that much caffeine, you can do a few things. You can drink a smaller cup and get what get out of it. Because if it's good coffee, you don't need that much. It will take care of you and get you moving. The other thing is I've said to people, I says, you could take some hot water it down a little bit, and that also will cut that caffeine down without having some of those chemicals that they process the decaf. And so for me, I am definitely a firm believer in finding alternative ways of trying to do this a little bit healthier. And that was where I moved into the milks. And a lot of people that are lactose intolerant do oat milk and some of the nut milks. And years ago, when I did a thing for the one of the local colleges here, and the administration came out and talked to me, and they said, you know what, we prefer if you use an oat milk versus a nut milk. And so I didn't really know why, and so I asked them, and they said because a nut milk, especially like almond milk, a residue will stay on like your steam pitcher. And so then the next person that might have a nut allergy might get it tainted in their milk and stuff like that, or in their beverage. And so I decided, okay, I'm just going to do oat milk. Well, I've learned that oat milk can be not as great for people either. And so as I was going through the convention, I stumbled across an alternative milk that wasn't a nut and wasn't oats. It was called corn milk. And I thought, oh my, this is going to be interesting. But I personally thought to myself, I was like, I'm going to give this a try. So they had little samples, and I tried it, and it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. Yes, Annalise, it is like non-alcoholic beer. It's like, why bother? Yeah, I totally agree. It's like drinking Sanka. Ooh, it's a bad word in this household. So needless to say, I stopped and I talked to the guy who was in charge of this booth, and I says, what does this corn milk do? Does it froth? Because oat milk does not froth very well. Like if you want an oat milk latte, you're not getting that nice froth. You're not getting that nice latte art. And because it just doesn't have the fat content to do so. And so I was like, I'm very interested in this corn milk. I was like, does it froth? And they said, yes, it does froth. Now, the one thing they did put in there that I was a little bit shocked, because to me it doesn't have flavor, they also add chickpeas into the oat or the corn milk. And I was like, okay. So I did try a sample. It wasn't terrible. I was kind of shocked because to me, I like a traditional regular milk latte, and that's not again, nothing against people who like the alternatives. It's just that's what I like. But because I serve people who need that, I have to find out if it's good. And so I talked to Jamie and I talked to Cyndi about it. I says, I feel like I need to test this product out. So I am going to eventually, apparently you can buy this off of Amazon, this corn milk, and I will be trying it to see if it's a worthwhile product and if it actually tastes relatively good in the lattes. And so, let's see, do we have any more questions? What type of coffees do you recommend to drink to calm Jason down? Well, like Jamie, Jason is not going to be calm at all. Huh, Whiskers? And so I don't think there's really anything that's going to keep you calm. Unless you're putting some NyQuil in it, maybe. I don't know. So, yeah. Sorry. I love a good Breva latte. Yeah. Yes, I totally agree. For myself, when I'm on the machine and I'm working it, for me, I love getting it a little too frothy for a traditional latte. It kind of leans into that cappuccino, but because of the whole um the way it's supposed to be made, it's still like a latte, but there's a little bit more foam to it, and it's just the way I like it. Most of the people who come to the trailers, they're crazy about our coffees. Yes, Josh, he does need a tranquilizer sometimes. Yeah, it's because he sleeps at strange times when most of us are moving about our day. So he does not need coffee right now, unlike me. I do. Mm-hmm. Yes, Mary. A story with Mary and Jason. So when I first started, first started dating Jason. We were doing some estate sales, and we went to this really nice restaurant for breakfast, and they had Kona coffee, and I was like, "Ooh, let's go ahead and give that a try." And so Mary's sitting in front of me, Jason's sitting beside me, and I ordered this Kona coffee, which was, yeah, it was pricey. It was up there, and so I go and take a drink, and she's like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, here, like, mm, slightly over roasted. And she looked at me, and they both busted out laughing because I was being serious. It was slightly over roasted. And so I will never get to live that down because I did. I said it because I was being truthful. And so every time we get on a coffee kick, Mary and Jason will be like, slightly over roasted. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. So we definitely don't like our over roasted coffees. Um, and we like a nice. I want to be able to taste everything in the coffees, and a lot of these different coffees come all over the world. They have such great flavors that a lot of people have asked me, and one of these ladies asked me a couple days ago. She goes, "I don't know what the big deal is about coffee, but I want to know." She goes, "I've been drinking coffee for all my life, and I don't get it." And I'm like thinking, this poor lady probably has been drinking Folgers or Maxwell House or one of the grocery store coffees, and they're over roasted. They have no flavor, and they taste like, well, Folgers and Maxwell House, you know, and it definitely does. I because I have so many different ways of how I make coffee, it comes out tasting different in each way, and the process makes it so delicious. And so a lot of people, you know, my family when I was a kid, they used the traditional Mr. Coffee, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you're not getting the full flavor out of it. And so one of the things that I absolutely love doing is that I love a good Italian press, okay? And this little guy is going to be great for two cups, maybe two 12-ounce cups, maybe, or maybe 8. Anyhow, this guy is great. So how this works is you unscrew him. He's got his little metal filter here, okay? And you go ahead and fill the water in here, and you want it to go right to where this little spot where it'll get some air. You go ahead and put that on there, and then you have your little pitcher part. You screw that back together after you applied your amount of coffee that you want to put in there. And you can put as many or as little as you want, depending on how you want it. You set this baby on the stove, and the thought process is think of it like how a volcano is, okay? But the heat goes up, and it starts to flow over there, and it starts to fill. As soon as it's done, you're going to see all this steam coming from the top. That means it's done. And I will tell you this much, it makes a great cup of coffee. Thank you, Morse. Anyhow, so there's so many different ways of making good coffee that isn't the traditional coffee pot. So this is just one of the ways. A lot of people also use a French press, which is another great way to make great coffee. I do enjoy a good pour over, which you need a gooseneck kettle, and you're going to, it has a ceramic pitcher, and then a ceramic fold, and you'll put your filter in there, put your coffee grounds in, and this gooseneck tea kettle, you'll start to pour that, and that's going to steep that coffee, and it'll start to filter down into the pitcher, and you get that nice creme, and it's going to make a perfect cup of coffee every time. So when the lady said that to me in a message, I wanted to basically tell her, I'll help you figure out how to get a better, all-around good cup of coffee, and sometimes it's just getting the right beans and knowing that, yeah, you may be paying more, but the quality is better. And the other thing that I've learned over the course of the 8 years that I've been doing this is that if you go to the grocery store, you pick up those bags of coffee, look at the expiration date, because sometimes they're closer to expiring than they are being fresh, and that's just not good. And I am definitely a big person on making a good cup of coffee, and so that's what we're wanting to achieve. Hi, Gleeful Treasures. Yes, I got your package out there the other day. It should be arriving to you, I'm hoping, in the next day or so. So I hope you had a good trip yourself. And yes, Cyndi asked me before I got down, she goes, well, how do we want to do coffee? And I kind of figured it was going to be crazy. But I told her, I said, I think a percolator would be great because it would meet the needs for many people. It would give you the flavor. And so she bought herself a nice percolator. And so I had helped her make some of the coffee at her house. And we were using the Bully Quake blend, which I don't know about you all, but if you've tried the Bully Quake, a lot of people enjoy it. It's a really good medium to dark roast. It gives you that kick that you want, but it doesn't taste like charcoal. And that's definitely what we want. We want good coffee. Nobody in this country should be drinking bad coffee when there is really good options. And let's see here. Do we have any other questions for me through either the Expo, Galveston? I'm not gonna lie. I ate like a king down there. Cyndi, Jamie, and I, we had some really good seafood. It was a wonderful experience. We were able to sit on the patio, which looks right out to the ocean, and it was fantastic. And so if you're in Galveston, definitely check out Nick's. Hey, Morris, you want to say hi? Look, say hi. The cats have been extremely needy. So is Jason. And so, so I've been dealing with a very needy, ginormous cat baby right here who has to be held at every moment's notice since I've returned. They've also been spoiled because they got a litter robot. So now they have two of them. And here he is again. Hey, what are you doing? Go behave. All right, so I'm going to let you guys give me some more questions. If you don't have any more questions, we'll probably wrap this up. Does Galveston have a coffee shop expo? No, sorry, I was in Houston. I was at the, was it, hold on, let me see. It might be on that tag. I forget what the convention center was, but it was in Houston, not far from where the Houston Rockets play at the Toyota Center. So it was nice, and so a very, very nice convention center, and there was a lot of people when we walked in. I was like, you know, hey, this is a lot of people. And so we had to wait for a little bit to get in because it didn't open until 10. So we got our coffee and we went outside and kind of just waited until they were ready to let people in. The lobby area was like wall-to-wall people, and I'm kind of one of those types that I like my little distance to say that. Okay, well, question was, do you like filtered water better? Yes, filtered water, especially if your water is very hard, or very mineral lime scaling and stuff like that. Yes, you're going to want a filtered water. Where I live here in Massillon, the water is very good. We have very little issues with that. So I don't normally use a ton of the mineral or like a filtered water, but I definitely recommend it in some of the areas that I've been in. That you look at, it's basically, if you go to the bathroom, look at the sink looks like it's got little pricklies on it where the water comes out. Definitely those places I'm sure are using some filtered water to make it a little softer for the machines. The other thing is that I use a cleaning products that descales the machines, and because regardless what you do, the espresso machines and like your buns, the commercial buns, they all have a boiler, and so it's always going to have a little bit of issue with getting lime scales or just buildup and stuff like that. And so there's the product that I use is called Descal, and I think it's from Ernst. I'll have to get the name of the brand, but it's good. It cleans stuff. You want to kind of run it through several times to kind of get that flushed out, and you won't have that kind of funk taste, because there's nothing worse than cleaning a machine and then making that coffee and you're like, well, I'm like, ooh, tastes like that. It's terrible. And trust me, I've done it to myself many of times. Thank you. Yes, so I was at Don Scott. This would have been last November. Jason and I were down there, and I found this pendant that is a old shark tooth that they put in there, and then they made this like modernist sterling silver pendant. And I always thought this would have been just as nice as a pin as it was a pendant. And so Jason and I went ahead and had to look for a chain that would actually work with this, because it's got a very small loop, and so it wasn't a very easy necklace because I need everything big. And it was just the story of my life. Much to the things of me have to go buy shoes. When it's size 16, it's not fun. So you don't get much choice. And so, let's see here. Yes. When I saw the shark tooth, I was like, "Oh, this is great." And one of our friends gave me a shark tooth, and when I seen this, I said to Jason, I says, "Can you replicate this?" And he's like, "Oh, absolutely." I go, "Here's the shark tooth." I says, "Let's replicate that so you have a matching one." So he's supposed to be in that workshop, getting creative. And I told him, I says, "Hey, that's content for your channel. It'll keep people interested. So we got to keep him coming up with new content." Okay, so let's shift gears real quick, because I did get distracted and I want to kind of go over this. So I'm looking to start selling teas, and about a month and a half ago, I signed up, which means I'm now in their wholesale part of their business. And I told them that I want to branch out to teas, because I understand some people are not coffee people, but they still want to participate in, having quality products to drink from us. And so I have a long list, and I'm not planning on giving them or selling them all, because it would be a lot of inventory to try to do. But I'm going to go ahead and kind of tell you guys what I could possibly can get. And then I would appreciate if you want to email me and say, "Hey, I really think that sounds good. I'd be interested in that." It gives me an idea of what you guys are interested in buying with the teas. And so we're going to start off with their best sellers. So we have a hot cinnamon, a Malaysia chai, a classic Earl Grey, a creamy Earl Grey, creme brulee, English breakfast, peach apricot, roasted chestnuts, and they have this iced tea blend. So I'm a coffee person. I'm not my expertise on teas is very little. So you guys might know a little bit more than I do, but I do appreciate just some interesting feedback. They have oolongs. They have a peach and watermelon oolong tea that's available. They have some green teas. They got a macaroon mint, a Long Island strawberry, lemon gunpowder, and a liquid jade matcha. And that is all of the greens. And then they have a white tea. They have a almond pear chai and a matcha peach U. I don't know what the U means. And And then they have some caffeine-free teas. Now, I did talk to the guy with the teas, and the teas and their caffeine-free is a little bit different than the coffees. So the process isn't like the coffees at all. And so that kind of put my mind at rest, because a lot of what I was kind of looking at, I was like, hey, I don't want a chemical process. I want this to try to be as natural as possible, because I really don't want my customers having a bad product, or something that tastes funky. And he said, no, you wouldn't have that. So there's a berry sangria, a peach honey bush, blueberry crumble, a calamine tea, cinnamon rubus. I'm gonna butcher some of these. A detox, and a Hawaiian paradise. So those are all the teas that I can get. If you have any interest in any of those, please email me at BullyRunAntiques@gmail.com. I'd appreciate some feedback, just to kind of have a better feel for what I should buy to offer for you guys to purchase. And so that is just one of the things that I need to try to get done this month, is try to get the teas up and running, so you guys have something different to drink. So I do appreciate that. Where will the list be? It will be on the website as soon as I decide which ones I'm releasing. So basically, out of the list that I just read off to you, I'm interested in your feedback. As soon as I get a good feel for what you guys are wanting, I'm going to go ahead and offer those teas. And then they'll be no different than the coffee. You'll go into the BullyRunCoffee Market in the left-hand corner of the website. You'll click on that. You'll have to scroll down until you find the teas. They'll be in there, and they will they'll be in there. Now, the gentleman who owns the company does have a hybrid tea that is not listed, but he did talk to me about it, which I found it interesting, because it was a combination of coffee and tea. And to me, that sounded pretty fantastic. It was a Ethiopian coffee, which is kind of got that berry taste, and it's very smooth, and it definitely makes for a nice coffee. So we'll see. But if you guys can give me some feedbacks on there, I greatly appreciate it. And yes, Morris is he wants to get on the camera and kind of tell everybody his story too, and what he did to Jason while I was gone, because he was apparently needy with Jason. So anyhow, so I'm going to, if you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to call it for an evening. And I appreciate all of you stopping by and letting me to tell you about my stories about the trip, about my shopping excursion with Cyndi, and Jamie's espresso kicking it. And so I hope you all learned a little bit of something to make your coffee experience better. And again, give me a little bit of an email on the teas so I can bring that for you all. So I appreciate you all. You all have a wonderful evening, and you take care of yourself. Bye.